What's up, gamers? Hi, Descendants, and hello, Internet. Welcome back to another Sloop Gaming video with a deep dive into encryption vaults for the First Descendant. Or in other words, who is Bob? Those loading into TFD for the first time will undoubtedly stumble upon an unusual robot while exploring Ingress, or find themselves acquiring various code analyzers after completing missions. The number of different resources gathered during gameplay inside the First Descendant is massive, and while discovering how they are used is part of the fun, it can also be frustrating. This is especially the case when it comes to not only applying code analyzers, but first discovering the locations of encrypted vaults, or BOBs, then successfully using the codes to acquire special loot. Rewards from successful vault decryptions are indeed coveted, specifically mixed energy residue to craft crystallization catalyst, used to increase your weapon and descendant mod capacity, conductive metallic foil to craft energy activators, also used to increase mod capacity, and Kuiper shards used to enhance your weapon and descendant modules. These three items are essential to increasing in power inside the First Descendant, but there's a catch. Some might claim a certain wall to overcome, but regardless, we're here today to explain how encrypted vaults work, provide some tips, and formally introduce you to Bob. But before we break all that down, if you're enjoying the First Descendant and want to stay up to date with TFD and watch more guides like this, then be sure to like this video and share with your friends. I also appreciate feedback in the comments and want to hear your thoughts on the topics discussed. Consider subscribing as well, as each new member increases the community's RNG substantially. Thanks. Okay, so who exactly is Bob again? I did go into some detail from my previous video on farming for crystallization catalyst, but here's some more clarification. BOBs are encrypted vaults, or robots, rotating to fixed locations inside each playable field from Sterile Land to Fortress. Sorry, but Bob does not like Kingston. Each vault offers a mini-game, accessed by using code analyzers in normal mode, or code breakers on hard mode difficulty. In addition to the base code analyzers and breakers, each has a precision and ultra precision version. The difficulty of solving the minigame increases with each variant, but the rewards scale higher as well. Quite significantly, in fact, especially when using code breakers in hard mode to decrypt Bob. You can discover what analyzer or breakers you own via the consumable tab and selecting miscellaneous. Each variant is an RNG drop upon completing missions on either normal or hard mode respectively. To my knowledge, completing missions via hard mode does not increase the drop rate. There are also no activities in-game that guaranteed a code drop. Perhaps certain affixes rolled on external components could buff code drop rates, but I don't know for certain. If you have gathered any information in this regard, then be sure to share inside the comments. Players who have yet to discover Bob out in the wild, or have only glanced over the description for these codes, will be asking themselves, where are these vaults? Further, when reading the acquisition info for mixed energy residue or conductive metallic foil, you'll also notice the label encrypted storage box in addition to encrypted storage vaults. It's confusing, if not a bit misleading, but believe me when I say you're not searching for a literal box or a traditional vault room per se. These labels are just another way to say, go find Bob. Okay, so how do we find Bob once we have the codes, and how does this mini game actually work? Upon loading into a playable field, Agna Desert for example, simply use your character's eSIV device to scan the area. A distinct ping will be heard if you are pointed in the right direction of an encrypted vault. Bob's ping can typically be picked up by scanning directly north, east, south, or west, but Bob could also be located below or above you, so be sure to adjust your line of sight depending upon the terrain. However, for the most part, scanning in the basic 4 directions will get you on track. As you move closer, Bob's ping will become noticeably louder. Players will also discover inside encrypted vault zones various green-colored holograms protruding from the ground. As you move closer, the hologram will retract back into place. These are fixed place markers which serve as a guide or starting point to stand and use your eSIV device to scan for Bob. I provided a map at the end of the video showing where I found Bob in the primary fields of interest of Agna Desert and Vespers. Feel free to provide the locations of any I missed down in the comments. Thanks. Overall, the number of Bob locations per zone inside applicable fields is about a handful, give or take. Once you learn a few locations, fast traveling between field zones will be common practice while waiting for Bob to spawn. When farming Agna Desert, I prefer to first load into the Tactical Transport in Mirage Stone. There are 3 close spawn locations. Next, I load into Vermilion Waste, where 4 Bob locations are nearby. Like I said, once you get familiar with the spawns, finding Bob is easy. Fun fact, upon closer examination of the holographic place markers, you'll notice fluctuating patterns alternating with a unique insignia. This same insignia can be seen upon using a code at any vault while playing the minigame. It's also marked right on Bob's belly. At first glance, especially when using a code analyzer on normal mode, the minigame is simple. Follow the needle until it rotates inside the shaded area, then click to catch. The needle moves slowly and the shaded area is robust. Note, if you happen to not be quick enough and don't catch the needle inside the shaded area, then the time penalty underneath the dial is only marginally affected. Warning, Descendants only have a short window to complete the minigame. Mistiming clicks to catch the needle will endure a penalty, lowering the time granted to complete. As you unlock precision vaults and ultra precision vaults, not only does the speed of the needle and the number of times required to catch the needle increase proportionally, but the penalty for mistiming clicks is severely increased as well. Players who fail the minigame will also lose the code used to access the encrypted vault. In short, Bob does not allow do-overs.
It's game over.
Upon launch, the needle spin speed was quite fast, especially when attempting to decrypt precision in ultra precision vaults. I dare say Bob was near impossible to crack on ultra precise, think ludicrous speed. However, when the dev team announced rare basic material drops from Bob would be increased 3-fold after hotfix 1.0.2, which by the way also included new drops by Elite Vulgus that appear in field missions and infiltration operations, an apparent shadow nerf occurred to the needle speed inside the minigame. Now, perhaps I just got used to the speed of the minigame, or maybe I missed the update notice on the dev's social media, but Bob sure feels a lot easier to crack than he did prior to the hotfix. What say you, Descendants? Did you notice a change after the hotfix? Are you an encrypted vault maestro imbued with the gift of the Magisters? Or has Bob left you crying after failing to catch at least one needle rotation on precise or even ultra precise difficulty? FYI, players who are struggling with Bob can utilize the passive skill from Descendant ENZO, where significant buffs are granted to easily decrypt vaults and receive increased rewards. As you can see, by unlocking ENZO, your time limit is increased in the minigame by 120%, speed reduction of needle decreased by 150%, count deduction at least 1 non-deductible to 3, angle reduction of 15, and time deduction on failure of 50%. These buffs are amazing and make managing the minigame easy peasy. Farming for ENZO is straightforward. Just use the Access Info tab, click on Descendants, select ENZO, then use the Acquisition Info function to discover where to gather the associated materials. Pro tip, and certainly not a surprising one, use Bunny to run Deployment Area of the Order's Forces hard mode mission in Moongrave Basin at White Knight Gulch. Each run is about 3 minutes, and the enemies are 50% less resistant to electric damage. However, any toxic attack is increased by 30%. So, mod your Descendant and weapons accordingly. The yellow barred mission monster who appears towards the end will net you about 2 to 3 advanced neural circuits per run. This is not guaranteed, however, and you need to acquire a total of 90 neural circuits to help build the ENZO stabilizer. Neural circuits are also required to craft crystallization catalyst, 18 per research. So yeah, run rabbit run. Farming neural circuits here is the quickest and most consistent for drops that I found thus far. If you have a more efficient location or an activity that breaks up the monotony of Moongrave Basin, then please be sure to share inside the comments. Thank you. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we are searching for Bob primarily inside the fields of Agna Desert and Vespers for mixed energy residue and conductive metallic foil, respectively. You could also decrypt vaults in Sterile Land for negative ion particle, Echo Swamp for thermal metallic foil, White Knight Gulch for cooling metallic foil, Hagios for highly concentrated energy residue, or in Fortress for pure energy residue. Bob also rewards an insane amount of Kuiper shards, especially after hotfix 1.0.2, and even more so when cracking Bob on hard mode. For example, from hard mode inside Agna Desert, encrypted vaults will yield 7 mixed energy and 0 Kuiper shards when using a code breaker, 10 mixed energy and 20,000 Kuiper shards when using a precision code breaker, and 13 mixed energy and 70,000 Kuiper shards when using an ultra precision code breaker. The same can be applied to yields of metallic foil and shards from hard mode inside of Vespers or other areas. In comparison, normal mode drops from Bob inside both fields are significantly lower for Kuiper shards, while their respective resource drop rates remain the same. Please note how Kuiper shards do not drop from code analyzers or code breakers. Oh yeah, fun fact number 2, when exploring solo or with a group, players can earn vault drops from other Descendants who have successfully cracked Bob. Feel the love. Lore-wise, encrypted vaults were created by the Magisters, Vulgus dissidents who align with humanity's ancestors to fight back the initial Vulgus assault. It was the Magisters who also awakened the dormant power of Arche hidden deep within human genes. Combined with Magister technology and the power of Arche, humanity's descendants are on the front lines fighting for freedom. What else can we learn from the Magisters? Were encrypted vaults created for their own needs? Or do they exist solely to safeguard valuable resources needed by Descendants to push back against Karel and his Vulgus Legion? Be sure to share your lore thoughts in the comments below. Well, there you have it, a deep dive into encryption vaults for the First Descendant, or in other words, who is Bob? I hope you enjoyed the video, whether you're brand new to TFD or an existing player who perhaps learned something new. Until next time, Descendants, good hunting, and thank you for watching. Likes and shares are kindly appreciated, and subscribe for more content. Peace.